What is up, mathletes? So today we're going to talk about an issue that's going to impact millions of students across the US, right? Probably across the world. I don't really know the educational system across the world, but I know in the US, this is how it works. So a lot of seniors out there and other individuals, and they're asking themselves a big question. Do I transfer to a 4-year university or do I start at a junior college? And that's what we're going to look at today. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so first let's talk about the current times. And again, these answers and these suggestions, they're just suggestions, and plenty of you guys are going to have a different perspective, right? And so that's why I need your help. Comment down below and we want to hear your ideas. But here's our thoughts here at Dr. Math. So let's talk about the current times. What is going on right now? So let me paint a picture. Right now, instructors like myself, all right, everyone's given a special badge and saying, you're an online instructor, and you're an online instructor, and you're an online instructor. And most instructors, yes, most didn't go through some type of training, number one, to even teach, all right, to be honest, and number two, to teach online. So you have to be very careful. I'm right here, we're in May 1st of 2020, all right? If you're watching this in the later future, you might have to worry about this. But right now, right, we have to ask ourselves, what is education gonna look like in the fall? Because as of right now, a lot of people are experimenting, including myself, right? Because I'm used to teaching people online, but the people that choose to teach online. And right now what's happening is everybody's being pushed online. So that means different things, right? Do you have the right resources? Do you have the right this? Do you have the right that? These are very different times. So something very important to think about, because those instructors, if we continue online in August, in September, are your instructors going to be ready? Because you might be dishing out the big cash for some quality that just isn't there. Think about it. All right, next thing we gotta talk about, money, right? Cost and debt, right? So you wanna make sure, first of all, that you exhaust all your financial aid resources as much as possible, right? Don't miss the mark, because someone that was new to school like myself, right? When I went through my bachelor's and master's program, I did not know of all the benefits that I should have received, because my dad was in the military for over 20 years. So I paid everything myself. And let me tell you, studying out of state, whoo, look up those prices. Do your research, right? I was young, dumb, but I learned a lot. So learn through me, right? Don't make the same mistakes I did. I'm one of the fortunate ones that I was able to pay my loans back, but so many people look around us, right? Learn from those who have walked that path before you. So the cost of a university, it's very pricey. So if you're not receiving any type of financial aid, right, think of all of the cost. And a lot of people, not only do they get themselves in debt with these loans, they get their parents in debt too. And remember, this is a type of loan that even bankruptcy later on, you can't get rid of, right? So again, do a quick YouTube search and look at people's stories, listen, right? So the best thing to do, right, we're in education, is always inform yourself, because people, they want to do these great things, and that's great, and you want to move ahead, but you have to make sure that you think everything through, all right? So I teach at a junior college, much cheaper, right? Something that as I worked my way through junior college, that's where I started, right? What was nice is I got to pay for everything a little bit at a time. When I say a little bit at a time, I had to pay the whole price, but it was in the low thousands compared to the high thousands, right? So think about cost and debt. Next thing you want to talk about, and this is where we should really start, is your purpose. You know, why are you're going to get educated, right? Education is great, even, and I see you educate yourself until you die, right? Keep learning about everything that you can, but what are you going to do with this education? What's the purpose? And I say, if you already have the ending in sight, you know what you're going to do, you know what you're going to use this degree for, right? Then I would say, okay, in that aspect, then you're more of the university side because you already have the picture. But then you have to think about the financial aspect and everything else. But in terms of purpose, right, if you're on the other end of the fence like myself, right, I had no idea when I was going to school of what I was going to study and why I was even going to study that thing. I had no idea that I was going to spend so many years studying mathematics until I found the reason why. I had to look at the gifts that I was given, right? And I had to think about all the things that I love to do, right? In terms of helping people, in terms of my gift explaining mathematics, and in terms of my own struggle with it and what satisfaction I got from accomplishing such things, right? So there's all these things that I had to think about when I chose to study math, and not only study it, but what I wanted to do with it, right? So again, there's what do you want to study and how do you want to use it to make an impact, to have your thumbprint here in this world, right? And if you're still kind of discovering that, what I would say is maybe the junior college, right? You're going to get to experiment, I would say take on lots of jobs, internships, put yourself out there, and just being okay with saying, you know what, that's not for me. That's not for me. Because the last thing you want to do is get stuck doing something that's not you. Because look at the world around us, right? You could go into a grocery store or some type of retail store, and you could see people that they really dislike what it is that they do. So make sure it's a great fit for you. Because I promise you, like I tell my students, when I walk through that classroom, right, even when I'm driving to work, there's something that's such a great feeling about it. Where if I have to leave my family and my house, that's one of the places that I would choose to be every day. And it's weird, right? You can't describe it unless you're in that type of position. Let's talk about quality and attention, all right? And again, you could always make an argument for both sides, right? Because a lot of people choose a four-year because they think about the professors and the great quality they're going to have and the type of questions. And there are experiences like that, absolutely, right? And then, but you have to do your research on these schools, right? Go and talk to people. Don't just follow things blindly, right? Don't let yourself be the guinea pig. Do your homework, because a lot of these 4 years, right? I've been to many classes where I would go to class and I would have the associate professor, right, at times. And so while our professors out there doing research and finding these great, working on these great problems, right, we're being taught by someone else. Or if you're taking a lower level class, what happens too is, say someone like me back in the day, who I was getting my master's degree and offered positions to teach the lower level students, say algebra or calculus class, right? So it's not the professor that's on the books, it's actually someone else. So do your research in who's actually going to be teaching you versus, right? And again, that doesn't always happen. So that's why I tell you, do your research. Don't listen just to me. Don't listen to only your parents or this person here, right? Every situation is going to be different, right? And the same token on the other side, if you go to a junior college, people like me that teach at a junior college, like I'm all in, right? I chose this profession because it changed my life. So this is something that at night I'm focused on my students, how I'm going to help them get to their final destination. I'm thinking about, how can I explain these things? So there's a lot of people that are invested 100% because this is their career, But then you have other people that might be part-time or maybe just not as interested and teaching because it pays well at a college level regardless of what people say. So you just got to be careful. So whether you're choosing the 4-year or you're choosing the junior college level, I say make sure you know what you're walking into, right? What instructors you're going to take. What does it look like at that particular school? The attention. I'm going to be biased here because I have smaller class sizes. So the attention I'm able to give to my students, I know my students' names. I know each of their names. All right. They might be shy and I might choose, give them the respect that they want in terms of not bugging them. But I know who my students are, right? And slowly throughout the semester, I try to inch my way in there to see how can I help them best. Versus, again, at a 4-year, you have many more students, right? You have those auditoriums. So are they getting the same attention, right? People are more willing at that, because they're at the end of their education, they're more willing to fight for their education. So you have to be ready to go and fight, to go talk to a professor for their time. All right, and the last one I want to talk about here and leave you, there's many more, but we'll just keep it to these right here, is the environment. And when I look at the environment at the schools that I went to, the 4 years, right, there people were a little bit more serious, all right? And it was more motivating because I got to learn from them. And I got to say, what is this person doing to succeed? And I would really bug people, right? I got up all in their business because I wanted to know. I got kicked out of school before at San Jose State. And so I wanted to know, how do I make the greatest comeback ever? Because what I was doing before wasn't working because I prioritized, like I talked about in my other videos, work over school. And I was making the money right there and then. But how can I was young, about to grow my family. I needed something more to help support them, right? So I needed to get to that next level. So I needed to learn, how do I reshape my thinking so that I could take my education game to the next level? And at the 4-year, I would learn from so many people in terms of how they would study, how they would work together, right? They weren't scared of asking dumb questions. They were all in. Versus at the junior colleges I went to, it was a fun place, right? You had friends, a lot of people that you knew, a lot of people that didn't know what they wanted to do, so they didn't have that purpose and that motivation. So again, this is just biased from my experience, but some things to think about as you're choosing where it is you're gonna go, right? And you need to think about every single aspect, where you're gonna live. There's so many things I haven't talked about that, again, I want to start the discussion. Start commenting down below. And if you already graduated and went through this, talk about your bias experience, right? So people get this perspective. Because especially right now, the times are very different and these students have very different questions to start asking, right? So unfortunately, we're like the experimental group. Hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully it kind of opened a lot of eyes to education. And if, again, any questions that you guys have, go ahead and comment down below and we'll be glad to do a sequel. All right, folks, have a great day.